So I think that a big part of me building my business, now that I can step back and kind of look at it, was also me building myself. You have to believe that at the end of this, whatever you're going through, there is a rainbow and it's beautiful and you're going to get there and you're going to look back. And it's going to be, especially if you're a girl, it's going to be something where once you reach it, you're so and you're no longer sad or angry about it. You're just so thankful that you went through it because it made you realize and learn so much about who you are. Yeah. People are not supporting your candy. They are, but they're supporting your story, you know? And it goes to show when we had our grand opening, like, there's so many people who just show up because they wanted to support me. And for me, that was like such a humbling.
And they may not even like candy, but they'll buy it because
no, they love my candy. They love my candy.
Just keeping it real.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Welcome to MarVic Podcast. We are on today. It's November 9th, 10th, one of those. 9th?
Weather's starting to get a little chilly.
We got Victor with his turtleneck, so that's an indicator that it's getting cold out there. I'm Marlon. We got Victor here, a co-host. Vic, who do we have here today?
Man, so today we got the pleasure of having Kim in the house, our first woman that we're going to be interviewing.
Our first woman.
Latina.
Our first female guest.
Yeah.
Yes.
First female guest, woman.
First lady of the
first
country.
lady of the MarVic Podcast.
And she's the owner of Kimy Sweets, delicious candy. It really is a taste of Mexico.
Brought some goods.
If you guys haven't tried it, definitely try it. And it is very addicting.
Yeah, for sure.
We're just eating right now. And
Victor can't stop. He can't put it down.
Pretty much, yeah.
By the way, she's setting the bar. Anybody that comes on our podcast, if you don't bring anything from your business, you're not welcome. We're not even going to sit you down. So
I don't make the rules.
Kim, thank you for being very generous and bringing this stuff over here.
No, of course. When I got the invite, first of all, thank you guys so much for having me. I was just so humbled. It's a pleasure to be here. And of course, I was gonna bring the candy. We could chamoy and chismear.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm gonna be eating, throughout the interview here.
That's what it's for.
Help yourself.
But pretty much, thank you for making the time as well to stop by. I know you're very busy, always up and down on the go. So we appreciate you being here today too.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So pretty much, Kimy, let's get this started here. What I would like to know is more about you. The person behind the brand, behind Kimy Sweets. Where do you come from? Where did you grow up? And who were you before Kimy Sweets came around?
So I've always kind of been in the aspect of a business. Mm-hmm. Growing up, my dad I have two sisters, and we all grew up because of his business, really. Okay. So he was a single provider for my family, for my sisters, my mom, and I. And he had a Mexican nut and candy stand. Oh, okay. Started off with just a couple of stands, mm-hmm. and then I would help him. I mean, my sisters and I would help him. He brought a lot of his brothers and sisters from Mexico to help him. And
where'd you grow up, Kim?
I grew up in Bell. So I grew up here. Yeah, I grew up here, and I actually was born in a hospital that's now a Smart and Final.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I was born in Huntington Park, but I grew up born and raised in Bell. So I've been there all my life. I still live with my dad. Mm-hmm. And so that's my home. That's
how it started for you with Dad.
Definitely. And it means a lot for you to be here because, I grew up in the neighborhood next door, Cudahy.
Okay.
So to be able to see what you're doing in the city of Bell, obviously see your growth and all that. For me, I look at it as it's inspiring, right? Like I'm from Cudahy. We're doing this movement here. You grew up from Bell. You grew up in Bell, and now to see what you're doing, it's awesome. It's inspiring for me.
Thank you. I mean, you too. Look at this. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I grew up with that, and when I got to high school, I was always, not that I wanted to, but it was just so instilled in me, you have to go to college. Mm-hmm. My older sister went to a Connecticut college right after high school.
Connecticut college in Connecticut?
Yeah, in Connecticut.
Wow.
So she was
from West Coast to East Coast, different world.
She was really academically gifted. She just was in this college board. Yeah, book smart, and she liked studying. Yeah. And so I guess the bar was set high. Mm-hmm. And so when it came to me, I felt some kind of pressure. And it's funny because I helped my dad run his. I would have my own stand at swap meets. He gave me my first time when I was like 14, and he was like, run it. And so he would drop me off, and it was me and my helper, and we would run the swap meet stand. And when I got to graduating high school, I was so over working at the swap meet. I was just so over, you know, I didn't have weekends with my friends. Like, mind you, my dad was very traditional. It was very like, come for my prom, I had to be home by midnight. Like, very traditional dad.
You wanted to have some fun. Like, can I be a normal teenage girl?
Yeah,
Dad?
can I just be a kid? You know, well, a teenage, yeah. And so when I got to college, I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to me voy a poner las pilas, and I'm going to study because I don't want to do this.
Where'd you go?
I went to UC Riverside, and
Nice.
I went straight after high school.
I'm like 20 minutes from there now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're in
I live in
IE,
Ontario.
huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
I
didn't grow up there, though. I grew up
I
in
don't
LA.
know how you could. Well, I know how you could live there now, but I would never go back to the IE. It's just too
much for you? You didn't like it?
It's just too nothing for me.
That's why I like it, because it's the opposite.
Too.
It is growing.
Yeah, that too.
It is growing, but that's exact. You nailed it.
You're
I mean,
excluded.
the city is very busy. It's very loud here. There's a lot going on. I mean, it has its pros and cons, but out there it's quiet. It's secluded. It smells like you know.
I think maybe
cows.
Ontario
It's a
or
beautiful-
Chino would be like. Because as you get older, obviously you start
to be
appreciate
clear, I'm not in
different things
Riverside,
life.
probably like 20 minutes east of Ontario, but
Yeah.
it's not too different. But I feel you. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
It's definitely a
Yeah.
stretch.
What was the college life like? Let's get there. I'm pretty sure that was fun.
So, when I got to my first year of college, I dormed there. Like, you know, mind you, my dad traditional.
You did the whole experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, peace out,
Yeah.
you know. And my first year, I was like, I went crazy my first year.
How did your dad feel about you dorming there and not living at home anymore?
What was that conversation like?
No, I think that it wasn't even like a question because since my older sister left across the nation to study,
That's true.
when it came to me, it was like, oh, well, she's only an hour away.
Yeah.
So it wasn't hard. It wasn't an adjustment at all. And it was something where it would be like, if I wanted to come home on the weekends, I literally.
That's interesting because I feel like the way you describe your dad as being like traditional and kind of like strict, I feel like he probably would have made you like stay home since it's so close. Like obviously is she your older sister, the one that went? Obviously older sister's going to the East Coast, so it's not like she can just come home, but you're so close. But he didn't force you. He said it's cool.
No, because I think that also like he had a lot of trust in like who he had created.
Right.
You proved yourself to him.
Yeah, so it was that I think for him as a father, it was like, oh well, like I gave you your wings, go fly, you know? But I mean, it also it was a conflict where I never was able to enjoy a lot of things in high school. Mind you, like I was always very like ASB president. I was very involved in sports. Like I was very involved in community service. So it was always just like.
Did you have any boyfriends in high school?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, but you still found time though, you know, to get your boo thing in there.
Yeah, I did.
What sports did you play?
I played volleyball when I was in high school.
Was your boyfriend in a sport as well?
He was at the time. He was, but he wasn't in. He just played soccer, but it wasn't like for high school.
Soccer players, man.
It was soccer players.
That's where the top talent is. Looking for a man. Look at the soccer teams.
That's dope. So you went to Bell, I'm assuming as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Graduated Bell, went to Riverside, and so when I went to Riverside, like even despite me having that party phase, I was always very applied, and I think that even like nowadays, it just came to a point where I think also it was very instilled in me since I was studying in high school. It doesn't matter what you're gonna do, just pick your struggle. So like for me, I thought I wanted to be a doctor. But I hated biology. I loved math, so I took the route through chemistry, and I finished in 4 years. And so when I graduated, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was like, shoot, like, do I want to go to a med program? Do I want to go to a post-bac program? What am I gonna do? And when I came home, I decided to just pick up like a part-time job at a tutoring center, and from there it was like, okay, I kind of like teaching a lot. Like I like what this is doing for me. I like how it makes me feel. I like interacting with the kids. And then I was like, you know what? Let me just try becoming a teacher. Yeah. So when I was actually going to, I got a private school job offering through a tutoring center that I was working at here in Torrance, actually. Okay. And from there, I made the executive decision for myself. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do an accelerated program to get my master's and my teacher credential. And when I decided to do that, my mom got really sick. And so, mind you, like, just kind of coming a full circle moment, I was always helping my dad growing up. I think out of my 3 sisters, I was always the one that was mostly attached to him.
Why do you think that is? Why were you?
I mean, I've talked to him about it now, and I think it just came down to a point that me and my sisters would fight so much. And back then we were, and no, really, and back then, I don't know if you remember, but because we're how old are you?
I'm 28. I just
we're around the same age. I'm 29. So I don't know if you remember, but when we went to elementary school and middle school, even high school, we were A-track, B-track, C-track.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so
the whole track thing.
So we
I had
go
that
to
in
school.
elementary school.
You had that too. So I was B-track, and I had so much time off in the summer. Sorry, not in the summer, in the fall.
And while they were in school.
And while they were in school, so all of my sisters were B-track. So imagine that. Like, my mom has all of us at home at the same time. So it came down to something where it's like, here, like, she's the crazy one. Just take her with you. And I'll keep the
more
other
energized one.
Yeah. So I think it just really came down to that.
Right.
But I think I also just, like, I've always just been more keen to my dad. I don't know if it's, I just grew up closer to him, you know?
There has to be something, though, that's most, like, you're attached to there. And obviously, like, he probably saw que era movida también, where he's like, oh, let's take her.
Yeah, no, I think I also think he definitely, like, molded me to be this 100%. And
Sorry to interrupt, but like your dad, so your dad is your main inspiration. He had his own candy business.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where Kim D is
Yeah.
definitely inspired from, right?
Where she was born.
What was your dad? Where did that come from your dad? I mean, and so you're Latina.
Yes.
Fully Mexican.
Yes.
Your dad is from where in Mexico? What part?
Both of my parents, well, my mom was from Jalisco, but they're both from Jalisco.
Both from Jalisco,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And so,
colored eyes and light skin.
is that common in Jalisco?
Yeah.
Okay, got
Yeah,
you.
from Jalisco, Guaritas.
So dad starts his business here. Like, that's all he's known since he got here? Like, what made, I don't know if you know the story of your dad. I'm sure maybe you've asked him, but.
Yeah. No, yeah. So he used to actually be a teacher in Mexico. But he grew up from a very, very poor family. Very, very poor. He's the eldest of, I think.
19?
I mean, you're probably not wrong. No, I think it's like they're like 12.
Okay.
I think they're like
so
12.
Close.
Yeah. And so when it came time for him to, I guess, want a better life, hey, look at they're snacking on the good goods. I got some of the Mexican mixed nuts because I was like, what if they don't like candy?
Kim,
and then I also got.
What are these?
So it's funny we're talking about my dad. I'll bring this in right now.
Perfect.
But this is a Mexican mixed nut. It's like a mixed nuts with like habas, cacahuate, chile de árbol peanuts, japonés.
She did not pay us to say this is actually fire.
Yeah. This is bomb. So I just tried these, right? So
Clusters?
I saw how you molded, obviously, the spice into it. And I'm like, yo, I got to try it. Oh, these are good, bro. No, you can try these.
Give him one.
Kim, damn, man.
Hold on.
Come on, I'm your co-host, bro.
Bryce, make sure to cut that out, bro.
Even Bryce is eating. Look at him.
It's good, though. Fire.
It's like a kind of spicy, though, no? Yeah? You think those are spicy? Try a candy.
But Bryce is white, though. Bryce is...
You're not adopted Mexicano? You're not invited to the carne asadas?
We're trying to.
No Latino in him. We can change that, though.
We could change that.
Oh, these taste like
He's learning from us right now.
I think of like Willy Wonka. These are good.
The nerd clusters? Yeah,
mine.
they're fire.
What do you call these, nerd clusters?
Well, the candy is a nerd cluster.
That's yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking
And we
about.
just put a little spice into it.
That's bomb.
Sorry, so we're talking about dad.
Yeah. So dad,
He
was a teacher in Mexico, and he always had. I think he always had aspirations to become a doctor too, which is what I think maybe.
It's kind of funny because you and him, doctor,
I think
teacher.
I'm telling you, he molded me.
Right.
He really molded me. I think maybe that's where it comes from. That he wanted me to become a doctor, and I just wanted to make him happy. So a big part of me studying chemistry had to do with like, let me try for dad,
Yeah.
But yeah, he came to the U.S. and he got here with one of his aunts, and one of his aunts had a stand at one of the swap meets, but they sold pretty much like shampoos, deodorant, like
everything.
Like a little drugstory,
Like
but
toiletries.
stand. Yeah, toiletries.
What's swap meet, by the way? When you guys say
I was just
swap
about to
meet?
ask that. Was it Paramount Swap Meet by chance?
No, my cousins are there though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my whole family's in like the whole Mexican candy.
You guys
business.
still do swap meets,
My
right?
dad does. I don't
Your
anymore.
dad's still going strong.
I want him to retire, but he
Yeah.
refuses.
He loves
Well,
what he does.
that's that Mexican, Latino,
Yeah.
traditional man. We don't stop.
Yeah.
And, you know, not to go off on a tangent, but like, you know, when you're that old too and it's all you know,
Go on, bro. I got some work to do.
he's like, keep going, man. I'm trying to eat. But it's like, what are you going to do with your life? My grandmother, she'll whoop my ass if I really say her real age. But let's say my grandmother let's say she's 65. She's a little older.
50-50.
Let's say 65. She'll respect
50,
that.
Victoria.
She still works. She still rides the bus. She still she has to walk daily. Like she has to move. And it's something that I really admire. And I'm kind of like, Mom, just stay home. I call her mom. Like my mom passed when I was 4. She raised me. So I'm like, Mom, just stay home. Like you don't have to do anything. Like, you know, you're good. Like we got you. I mean, she's got her man, my grandpa, unofficial grandpa Nelson. Shout out to
what do they say?
They're just tough.
De piel gruesa.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're tough.
Mucho orgullo.
And I think, you know, another thing is like, I think them growing up with such poverty, like, you know, you're never going to forget that. And it's always going to it probably takes you back to those memories and like, okay, I got to keep working. Like, I'm never going to stop. And it's fun. You know, it's kind of like, I think about that too. Like, damn, retiring sounds nice, but
then what am I going to do?
What are we really going to do? Just chill?
I'm sure your dad has his friends there that he likes to talk to, meet up with.
Yeah. So like on Wednesdays now.
Mm-hmm.
So he's scaled his business down a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He's homeowner now, and you know, me and my sisters are all older already.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't take it as heavy as
before.
he used to. And then I think he sees us all doing pretty well with our career, like my business, and then my sister is a teacher, and then I have my younger sister who influences full time, and she does really well with that.
What does that mean, influences? She's a social media influencer?
Yeah, she does social media influencing
That's
as her
crazy.
career.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
she's
What
killing
what
it.
what is
Yeah, what does
like?
she do?
Yeah, what?
She does lifestyle. She does lifestyle, fashion. She does
Plug her
self-care.
Instagram. What is her Instagram?
Her Instagram, Jen Alondra. I'll show you guys.
So she's at a point where she's monetizing now, where she also.
Yeah, and
We'll put it on. Don't
Yeah.
worry about actually getting it. We'll
okay.
put it on later.
Yeah, and so
J Alondra.
Jen Alondra.
Jen Alondra.
Alondra.
I
Yeah,
saw
and
she recently got engaged, right?
yeah, she just got
That
engaged.
looked nice.
Congrats.
Oh man, we
Jen.
were out in
Cool.
Hawaii. Yeah, she just got engaged, and I'm so happy for her. Honestly, they've been together for a long time, high school sweethearts.
About time.
I know,
bro.
about time.
Whoever you are.
No, they were young. They were 16. You know, like when they first met. So it's kind of like there's like an understanding for it. We're like, you guys were babies.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But
That's
that's
good
good
to see
that
them.
they're traveling, you know.
Yeah, no,
That's
we're
so too.
big. We're big on family. We're big on appreciating my dad. We're big on appreciating each other, and we try to do as much as we can together. So yeah, so they got
A lot of
engaged.
respect for each other.
Yeah.
Is your dad promoting your business, or is he?
Oh.
They sell it?
I'm curious.
Yeah.
Does he have his own brand, or you guys
So-
all have your own?
No,
conflict
we're
of interest.
separate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. You know.
No, you know, and it's gonna sound a little rude,
Okay.
but it's the complete blank truth. It's just people don't want to pay what my candy is worth at a swap meet. They don't.
Okay,
Because,
that's
you know,
fair. The
yeah.
audience, the market is different.
Yeah, the
so no,
market
that's
is
just
different.
that's business 101.
What's
You got to know who you're
average
selling
price?
So
I'm over here
we
getting
started off. They're now 7-ounce containers. And depending on the container, other than the gushers, you could do 3 for $22 or 1 for $8. So that's my base price for this.
Say that one more time. Okay, the gushers is those.
No, we don't have any gushers.
Okay.
About
So
today.
what? Okay, what are
But, like,
these?
Those are my
the
second favorite, by the
7-ounce. Yeah, these are like the 7-ounce containers.
How much does this go for?
These ones go 1 for $8 or 3 for $22.
Okay.
But then we also have bigger containers that are 10 ounces.
Yeah.
But it's funny because when we started the business 3 years ago, remember I was selling like little round 5-ounce containers. They were like $5, and that was like affordable, you know, like. But inflation and
Things
everything
change,
that's been
yeah,
going on.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
You got to scale your price.
yeah.
up.
So my dad still has his stand that he maintains not too far from here, actually, at the Rhodium Open Air Market here in Gardena, Torrance.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're familiar with the area. Then.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he's still doing that. I'm doing my business, and I try to incorporate him into my business. All of the nuts that I offer, anything nuts that I offer, nuts, dried fruits, those are all still his recipes.
Nice.
So like he's still creating this for his business, and then I just purchase wholesale from him and bring it into my store.
Got you.
Yeah, but everything else
That's really cool. You guys are working together and helping each other's businesses. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I won't ever give him enough credit, but he helped me a lot with the recipe too.
Yeah,
because he did like the dried dried mango, dried pineapple, like dried fruits with spices, and he would do that for wholesale all his life. And so I saw how he would do it, and then when it came for me making up my recipe, I was like, hey, like, and then he kind of like, he didn't want to create it for me, but it was kind of like, do this, do that, and then add your own touch, you know?
Yeah.
So that's how this came about.
That's dope.
Did chemistry? I mean, I'm just kind of connecting some dots here, but I could be off. Did chemistry didn't help you at all with this? No.
I mean, no.
Because when you said chemist, I'm thinking like Walter White, you know, like but with
Breaking
candy.
Bad.
You know, Kim is like the Walter White of candy. Yeah.
Going to work.
So how do you do it? How do you? I mean,
I
you're
can't
not
tell you my
right. You're not gonna
secret.
reveal. We're not
Go on my
gonna.
TikTok, we show you there.
But how does it? How do you get inspired? I mean, is it? Would you say it's like your experience with your dad, like all that time in the swap meets and eating candy and like where?
Before you answer that, let's go back a bit.
Okay.
Okay, so
We're
you
retracing.
were going to school, you become a teacher. So how does Kim D Sweets come about then after that? So you were pursuing your master's?
Yeah, no. So it came a point where I was like, you know what? Like I need to figure. It had been a year that I had been working at a tutoring center, and then a year after that, my 1 year anniversary at the tutoring center, I got offered that private school teaching job where I was teaching math, and then halfway through the year they gave me math and chemistry. And so it came a point where I was like, oh shoot, like I actually really like this. Like let me apply for programs, let me do this so that I can, you know, get other jobs, not just at a private school. And so when that happened, my mom got sick, as I was telling you, and it came a point where we didn't really know how to treat my mom here in the U.S. And so my dad was like, you know what, like, I just got to drop everything I'm doing, and your mom needs me. Like, I'm going to go to Mexico. Like, que pase lo que pase with the negocio, like, I don't care, you know? And it came to...
What do you mean you didn't know? You guys didn't know how to treat your mom here? What does that mean?
Yeah. Was your mom here or was she in Mexico?
My mom was here. My mom, the medicine system here in the U.S.
Was it just like too expensive? Is that what?
No,
you're
I
referring
think
to?
that it's just my mom suffered a lot from a lot of mental health,
Okay.
and so when it came to treating her here, it was very like let me just sedate you.
Oh yeah, let me
just-
give you
yeah,
pills.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that it's not spoken about enough here, but the system here in the U.S. If you're suffering, and we talk about it so much, you know, like if you're depressed, or like if you have thoughts of suicide, or if you have thoughts of this,
Let me
call
give you
this
some pills.
number, or like look for help here. But like when it comes to really treating patients that need mental rehab,
Yeah.
it sucks. Like they're just like, let me sedate you, and then this pill is gonna require another pill to sedate you
And the
from
problem
that.
is that you get addicted to that drug, and now you feel like
Exactly.
you need that drug.
Well, the problem is you don't get healed.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's all you know tied into just business. Like
Yeah.
it is a business
It
medicine
is.
here.
the more
And
you
Yeah.
buy, the more that
Yeah,
Exactly.
you're just
You
another
you
patient.
probably
you're
get
just
worse.
Another number. Yeah, you're just
Exactly.
money. Yeah.
So
And
your dad decides to go to Mexico.
I think that us collectively as a family just saw that my mom wasn't getting better. And my dad's from a little ranchito. And so it was very like, let's go try to heal her over here, away from the noise and away from
Smart.
the chaos. And
That is
we
smart.
can go visit doctors over there that are more holistic and try to heal her. No matter how long it takes, let's get her the help that she needs, you know? And so
It's
when
very
it,
sweet of your dad.
Yeah.
yeah, and so when I mean, you know, my mom was the best. She
Yeah.
was the best. She was she provided for all of our families, and then she helped my dad build his business. Like
Ride or
when it
die.
came to like all of the like product packaging, ella estaba en
She was
el,
right
like
there.
she was there in chinga, you know, haciendo todo.
That's awesome.
And there, I would get home and there was never not a meal cooked. Like in the morning, there was never not like uniforms laid out for us. Like she was just
Right.
elite mother. Like she was the
awesome.
best mother.
Shout out to mom.
Shout out to
Yeah.
mom. Love you. And
Is she no longer with us?
yeah, she's no longer
Oh.
with us. It's okay. It's
That's how
okay.
you point up.
Yeah. It's okay. I actually dedicated a lot of my store to her.
Oh.
And so yeah, so when my mom got sick and my dad decided to leave to Mexico, I kind of felt like a moral obligation because my younger sister was actually finishing her undergrad at UCLA. And so she wasn't living here. And then my older sister was very busy with her teaching career. She was trying to get into tenure. And so she couldn't take any time. And so it was like me, where it was like,
everything kind of fell on you again.
yeah, well, I mean, God's timing, you know, where it was like, you think you want to go pursue this, but like you don't really have a commitment to anything right now. Like you have the time.
Right.
And so I told him, I was like, you know what, like I'll run it for you, you know? But I thought it was going to be like 2 months, like, or like 3-4 months. And it wasn't that. It turned out to be like a year and a half, 2 years almost. And he would come and go. You know, there was periods where they would come back to the U.S. just to see how she would adapt. But it was very like, okay, like he
it's
can't
like a short visit.
No, not a short visit, but like if my dad wasn't with my mom full time, then maybe she would relapse again, or it would be something where it was like, I can't really commit to the business full time. Kim, you still got this, you know? But I didn't know how to run things. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I knew how to run the stand. I knew how to do like all the behind the scenes, but like numbers, finances, like all the accounting. Like I was like, what the hell am I doing here? Like, am I even breaking a profit? Like, what am I doing? You know?
Yeah.
And so when it came finally time that my mom passed and my dad was able to come back to the business, for me it was like, oh,
this is my business now, Daddy.
No, not really. Yeah. I was just like, what am I gonna do? You know.
I felt like, so attached to it. It's all you knew for a year and a half.
Yeah.
It pretty much became yours in a sense.
It kind of became my business. And when in the meantime too, because mind you, like I didn't know what the finances were for this business, and it was my moral obligation.
So how were you doing it if you didn't know the numbers?
I would just literally get the money and go buy stuff if I needed it, you know, like. And then if we had,
so you were doing good to at least stay afloat.
I would do what my dad would tell me, you know. I'd be like, just write the entradas and the salidas and the entradas and the salidas, and then go here, and I would just be like, okay.
And it was just you. You had no help.
I mean, it was me, and then he had. I guess it would be his team, his worker, but the worker was, you know, like it was just like, yo voy a vender y ya, you know,
he
like
knew even less.
He knew less than me, yeah.
He just showed up to sell.
Yeah. Just tell me what to do, Kim. Okay, cool.
And so I wasn't like, I was just like, dude, like, okay, shoot, like it was kind of like a reality check where it was like, okay, I've invested 2 years of my life into this almost, and like,
how old were you around this time?
I would say what,
it was
19,
3
20?
years ago. I was
no.
It was, I was. Before the pandemic happened 2020. My mom passed away 2019.
So this is pretty recent. Yeah.
Well, you're 28 now. You're
29.
You're 29.
Shoot,
so
I
you
think
were
I was
like
like 20. I was
25.
like, I think when I took over the business, I was like 25.
Yep.
Yeah, 24, 25. And I was just like, shoot, what am I going to do? And I kind of felt like, okay, like I ran this business for 2 years, probably sucked at it, you know, like financially. And so I also wasn't paying myself when I was running my dad's business, because I felt that I was my moral obligation to help my dad, you know, like as long as I had a roof to live, you know, like I had a roof over my head and my dad was able to care for my mom, that was enough for me. So
how'd you do it?
To earn extra income, what I did at the time, like mind you, this is before pandemic, pre-COVID, it was the Mexican candy was not accessible. So I had an Etsy shop. And on that Etsy shop, I was just selling like authentic candy, like Duvalin, Mazapan, Pulparindo, like a candy mix, like a candy bundle mix. And it wasn't accessible, so my Etsy shop would do pretty well. Like it was like maybe 50 orders a week.
Well, how wasn't it accessible? Like it'd be in my piñatas all the time. How would you?
Well, it's accessible to us because we're in Cali. But let's say, for example, someone in Minnesota, or someone in Tennessee, or someone in Wyoming.
How did you know that?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I figured
research,
like,
right?
well, no, I would Google like, oh, is there like Duvalin? Like, where can I buy it? And Amazon wasn't big. Like, people were not, TikTok shop wasn't a thing, you know, like it wasn't, e-commerce wasn't big. And so I kind of just saw that opportunity where it was like, well, I'm already seeing it almost every day. I no me cuesta nada to put a listing.
Take a picture, put it on Etsy.
And Etsy back then was really good about, it's kind of like what Amazon is now.
I remember Etsy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's still around.
It's still around.
Yeah. And so it's like, it would just do the advertising for you. Like, and if people were buying your item, it was like a hot item, and you wouldn't even have to put any money into like ads.
It'd be like trending.
It would just be like, you were just like the top listing. So that's how my Etsy store kind of grew. It was like very just like Mexican candy based.
Good for you.
That's
So, and you
dope.
did that online
Yeah.
as opposed to the swap meet, you'd have to be there in person.
Yeah, and I would just do it like
Running it
twice
from
a week.
home.
I would just print the orders and then I would just ship them. There wasn't that many, you know?
Yeah.
It was
Did you ever feel like doing the swap meet, not that it was a waste of time, but were you doing better online than you were in person? Like,
no. There's
Because
no.
at the time, everything's still building up, right? The whole
Yeah,
TikTok,
and then
the whole
also like my
e-commerce.
dad's stand is very, very
Well-known.
like it's just
Established.
it's a one-stop Mexican candy and spices and nut shop. Like vende chile seco, like he has
I have
and
to go
he
try.
He's got it all.
yeah he's had it all. And honestly, like he's been at the swap meet for so long. So many people look for him.
Right.
He's
right,
blessed. He's
Yeah.
blessed there
He's
too.
established already.
Yeah, he's established and blessed.
What's the
and
name of his?
It's La Botanita. His stuff
La
is La
Botanita.
Botanita.
What's
yeah.
dad's name, by the way?
Felipe. Sir
Felipe.
Philip.
Sir Philip.
Yeah, we call him Sir Philip.
Put a little respect on it.
Yeah, put a little
Don.
respect on
I'm gonna
him.
call him Don.
Don
El
Philip.
Don.
We
Don
call him
Felipe.
Don too. At the summit de like Don Felipe.
How does how did his name come about? The business.
La Botanita?
Uh-huh.
I think that they just needed like a name for legal reasons and they were like, La Botanita. That's it. There wasn't anything behind it. Yeah. It was just like, I saw botanas, La Botanita.
Gotcha. So then that starts going up for you. So then Kimy, how does that come about? Like where does that?
Yeah, so when my
Idea
dad
come
took
about?
over his business, it was late 2019, early 2020. Before because COVID happened like March.
Right.
And so I remember that I was kind of still helping my dad out for like until mid-February when we started hearing everything about like, oh, the lockdowns and all of this. And then my dad's swap meet got closed.
Right.
It was like, you can't come sell anymore. It's closed.
How did Pops take that?
I mean, it was rough for him, you know? He was scary. He didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know how to manage any of it. But I mean, like all, we just kind of did our best and adapted to the new reality.
There's
Yeah.
nothing you could do. Yeah.
And so he had a batch of peach rings, and peach rings is actually fun. If you didn't know, a fun fact: peach rings is one of the very few candies that has a short shelf life. Like it'll expire.
How quickly?
3 months. And so I told my dad, I was like, hey, like like.
We gotta sell these.
Yeah, like you're not gonna not sell them. I was like, and at the time I walked into a 7-Eleven in Bell, and the only candy I saw the Tajin Snack Club on peach rings, and I told my dad, I was like, how good would it be if we put your mango seco recipe on these peach rings? And it was just something where it was like, oh, let's try it. Like we were bored, let's try it. And so we did it, and it came out so good.
Where do you guys do this? Like in the kitchen at home?
Yeah, at the time it was
whip
at,
it out,
yeah,
boom,
at the
boom.
kitchen at home. Yeah, yeah.
What I was gonna say is because I remember the first time I bought candy for you was from your home. Yeah, like
Damn, we go way back.
Yeah. I remember pulling up in the driveway. I got lost, and you're like, "You're lucky you're my first time you buying off me because usually I'm not as nice."
No,
You know,
I said that. I said that.
Yeah,
too.
because I got
Oh my
lost.
Hey, Victor remembers everything.
Hey, eliminate that from that.
Careful what you say to this guy,
Yeah.
because he keeps
I
receipts.
can't receive. Yeah, I
Damn,
remember that.
that's
I'm
so mean of
I
me.
felt nervous. I'm like, oh shit! It's because Google Maps, Apple Maps is sending me this way, but Google Maps. is
Yeah.
What did she tell you again? What did she say?
Yo, let's get this.
She said you're lucky.
You're
what?
lucky.
You're lucky you're my first time customer.
Yeah.
Damn.
Usually
You
I'm
mu-
not as nice as this.
You probably caught me
Hey.
on a
You were
bad
busy.
day.
Yeah, you're probably
Yeah,
busy.
you
Yeah.
caught
Coming in and
Kim.
out.
Dad just yelled at her, so she was a little.
No, you know
how
what?
do you guys? By the way, how do
Yo,
you guys know
so-
each other?
I have no idea. He's just a.
You said elementary.
remember.
Did you guys?
No.
No,
okay.
no, no,
Yeah,
no,
We
no.
said that. I was like, no, I don't remember going to school.
Right?
with you.
Yeah, I was like, because you said elementary school earlier.
No, I
and
think
was
I
like,
met him through my business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is how it came
He's a
about,
fiend for
actually.
candy.
With the other insurance company I was a part of, one of the strategies obviously was recruiting, right? So what we would do, we would look at people's profile and follow their followers. You happen to be one of the random people that I followed, and then I started seeing the candy. I started seeing you went to the gym that I went to. I'm like, oh, she's a local. That's
That
badass.
helps?
Choose
Oh, okay.
Choose Fitness, and then that's how that came about.
So
I ended
social.
up buying, I ended up buying
network.
candy. I'm like, yo, that looks fire. Like,
Yeah.
I love all this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's when I bought the candy. And then I think I ran into you at the gym once too.
Oh, yeah.
And then I
Yeah.
said, oh, like she's actually local.
Mm.
Pretty badass, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how it came about.
Yeah.
Got you.
No,
And then
elementary school.
ever since then, just been following your journey. And I'm like, yo, this is badass.
Yeah, so I think it got to a point where so once we made the peach rings, I wasn't big on social media myself. Like I had taken like a social media break for like 3 years. So a lot of my high school friends, like I didn't really keep in contact with them. Like, mind you, like, it was very like, where the hell is Kim? You know, like, what happened to Kim? So when I decided to make an Instagram page for the business, the candy shop was already Kimdy Sweets. Like, the name was already there. So when I made an Instagram page for the business, it was a combo of like, oh shoot, it's Kim, and like, oh shoot, it's Candy, you know? Like, so it was like it was very easy for me to give the candy to my high school friends, my local friends, where it was like, try this, you know? And it was a big hit. Yeah. And when I saw that people were liking it, what I did was I uploaded I was like, okay, the peach rings are good. Let me do the other 5 candies. So I started with peach rings. I started with the watermelon. The watermelon bites are one of my OGs.
Fire.
Yeah.
Fire.
So the watermelon bites, I started with peach rings. I started with strawberry strips, watermelon strips, and gummy bears. Those were my first 5.
So I'm a little curious because you're a creative person.
Oh, like thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's something. I guess our creativity looks different. Like you can't. I don't know. You in the kitchen.
No, dude, it takes a lot. Yeah. What do you mean? Being able to just
no, I know, but I'm so like this is just something so new and different for me. Like I'm curious, like how do you like you said you went to 7-Eleven, you saw an idea, and then
I was like, dude, if my dad did in my head, I was like, dude, if my dad did this, like it wasn't very accessible. I was like, you're gonna beat
the competition.
I was like, I knew for sure that
it's better
this was
quality.
Gonna be. I knew that this was gonna be a thing. The same way that I don't know if you guys have seen freeze-dried candies now.
I have no idea what that is.
Freeze-dried candies is like when you take a like Nerd Cluster and you put them in a dehydrating fridge, and it puffs it up and makes it crunchy. So you're eating like a crunchy candy, and that's like a thing now. Like it's a new trend now.
What is it?
It's called freeze-dried.
Freeze-dried.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe I just have I think I'm just like gifted in that way.
Well, this is your world.
Yeah, this is your world.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're putting us up on game right now. I'm like taking mental notes.
What the heck's
I'm taking mental notes.
Like what the
I know
heck's
about
a
deep freeze
candy.
I know what you mean about that because I used to work in a kitchen, so you know we would have like food that they would shit. I already lost my thought. Trying to find deep freeze and all that stuff. But yeah, no, this is your road here. I'm taking mental notes. I'm like, that's why I'm really quiet right now because I'm really like picking your brain.
Yeah. No, I think that I've just been around candy so much. I have a good eye for like, this is good or this is not good or like this will hit, this will not hit. And so I told my dad, I was like, Dad, like this is gonna be the next trend. Like we need to do something. I was like, we need to do something about it. And he was just like, well, I don't know anything about it online. And I honestly, I never really told him what I was doing. It was just very like, show me how to do it and then I'll do the rest. But I mean, it all started with Etsy. It started off with me giving the candy out for free to a couple of my friends, and then they were really excited about me going back on social media.
Were you strategic with which friends you would give it to, or you're just like?
No. It was very like.
You like candy? Here you go.
It was very much like organic in the sense that like I hadn't seen them in such a long time.
You wanted to show that, hey, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah, and it was.
What do you think?
It was nice because
I think. Doing well.
He's gonna finish that right now.
He's
gonna have a heart attack because.
So it was organic, where it was like, oh, dude, like here, like try these.
Right,
like whenever we would meet up to chat or catch up or whatever, it'd be like, try this,
You wanted
kind
to
of word
share.
of mouth promotion as well.
Yeah, and then they would like post it, and they would be like, oh, it's Kimdy Sweets, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna upload this on Etsy. So my first ever store was Etsy, and then
That's what you got right
I put him on Etsy a little bit before the pandemic, and then the pandemic hits, and boom, like you
Took off.
I mean, I feel like the pandemic did wonders for any e-commerce.
I agree.
Honestly, like
I have I talked about it in I did a podcast with one of my friends in Orlando, and we've talked about how the pandemic for life insurance. So a little bit about our world is before the pandemic, most of the sales that we did were in person.
Yeah.
Where we would be required by law to go and see you. We had to physically be there. We had to drive, do all that. Obviously, once the pandemic hits, it's like we can't.
Just meet me in Zoom.
Right, exactly.
So Zoom took off.
Technology.
Yeah.
So
it really changed the game for us.
Right.
Now we're networking with people in different states.
Yeah.
Where before it was like all we were doing was just California, Los Angeles, Riverside, those areas. Now we're connecting with people in the East Coast over Zoom. And closing more sales as well.
Yeah.
So that really changed the game for us.
It's amazing. I feel very fortunate. I'm sure you do too. That we work in certain industries where we can do that. Because obviously there's some things in business that the pandemic did the opposite. It destroyed them. They ran out of business. Did you guys panic when that happened? I mean, what do you remember when the pandemic hit? Like, you got to shut down the swap meet.
At that point, I think that the Kimy Sweets Etsy store was doing pretty well.
So you already
not pretty well, but I mean, it was the first of success for me. So I was like, oh my God, so excited. And so I think that my dad, I didn't have enough help, and my days would be like, I would wake up and get my workout in. I've always been into my physical fitness. Right. And then
you have
I would
to
get
be
home.
If you're going to eat a lot of candy.
You know what? Surprisingly, I hardly eat candy now. I just think I'm so around it so much.
Are you just tired of it?
But there's like a sample container that I have in the store that if I'm in the front, I'm a big snacker. So like if I'm doing like the computer work for Kimy, I'm always snacking on something.
Well, if you're doing any new experiments, let me try them.
I'll
let you know.
You'll be your test dummy over here.
Yeah, this is a hit. This is not.
Wait, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought.
Are you talking about Etsy? You had a little bit of success.
Yeah, and so I think that my dad kind of, he saw that my days were really long. So it would be like I would wake up in the morning and I would go we have a back house in where my dad lives, where my dad's home, and I would make all the candy in that kitchen. And then I would go ahead and go to my main kitchen to do all my shipping orders. So it would be days where it would be like, hey, Dad, like my family, we were at the time very used to like eating together as a family every single day. And so it would be like, oh, like we have to eat outside because Kim has the kitchen table. And so I think that my dad, instead of like just doing nothing, he just willingly stepped in and would help me. Like,
awesome.
He helped me.
He saw your hard work. It's like, I got it.
And whether it be like I would sell these candy bundles of like 20 Mexican candy pieces or 40 or 60, and they were a big hit. And so my dad would just start making like the candy samplers for me or anything. He would really help me. Yeah.
Don Felipe seems like a nice,
he's
man.
He's very supportive in his own way. He's very, very supportive.
Awesome.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, Etsy's kind of what started Kimy Sweets.
Do you still do Etsy? Not anymore.
No, not anymore.
So okay, so you did that. When do you get to the next level? What happened there?
What is the next level? Pretty much, is it just, did you start your own website from that point?
Yeah. So I started doing my website, and then I also started doing pop-up markets. So I ran into you at one, I think in East LA, Boyle Heights. It was a pop-up there, and I was like, oh shit, Kim.
What's a pop-up?
A pop-up is kind of like it's pretty much like a fancy swap meet.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
With rich more money.
Small businesses. Yeah, okay. It's like a farmers market style. Yeah.
Would you consider that a pop-up? It was actually an event with Bucanas, I think.
I did that one too.
Yeah, that's I ran into you there.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah.
Oh, you went to go visit? Yeah, you went to go support me there. Yeah, so that event was badass. Yeah. It was lit. That event was badass. They had that guy that sings Una Vaina Loca. He was performing.
Okay, it was a good time. Yeah, it was my first time being in an event like that. And obviously seeing you there, being able to support you as well, I was like, oh, that's dope.
Yeah. I think the next step from there.
I've been a fan since day one. Yeah.
He really has, though. No, for real. He really has. When he told me, I was like, dude, of course. Like, I definitely want to come have this conversation with you guys, you know?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you, Victor, for being loyal.
I'm a loyal customer.
Yeah. Only a loyal customer?
Look, the reason why I do it is my heart behind it is that, like, nobody ever gave, and we talked about this last week, like, nobody ever supported us.
Yeah.
You know, insurance isn't sexy. Nobody goes up to you and says, hey, I want to buy life insurance from you, right? So I know what it's like to be in the grind, feel no support, none of that. So when I see someone like you, sorry, that shit's a little spicy. Got me. So when I'm seeing you, obviously on the come up with your business, I feel like that's the least I can do. Hey,
yeah.
So, support your business. And
that's nice of you. In other words, you have to buy a life insurance policy.
In other words, yeah. He's
after this, we're about to write you up. Yeah. You help me, I help you. Okay, so website pop-up. So a pop-up is a fancier swap meet. In other words, there's people there with more money. That, like you said earlier, this won't go well at your dad's swap meet because the clientele probably aren't willing to pay $8 for 7 ounces.
I mean, when you think of swap meet, you think of let's go bargain. You know.
So how did you how did you put that together of like, okay, well, this costs more. We got to go to richer people. Like, how did you?
No, so the event never. I mean, I think that it started because we were like in the middle of the pandemic, and I think we all kind of missed networking. We all kind of missed
seeing
each other, you know,
hanging out.
And so one of my good friends, Gabriel, and I'll always say thank you to my friend Gabriel. He owns Lime Drop, which is like it used to just be a bartending service, and he also sold like michelada mix and rempes. But now he has his full-on candy store too.
Nice. What's up, Gabriel?
Yeah, and so me and him grew up down the street, like from each other, elementary school style. And I remember that I followed his business, and I was always so inspired by what he was doing because he was one of the first to do it too. And so he was actually part of like a small business fair market that they did in the city of Downey. And I was like, dude, this looks so cool. Like, I think I'm ready to like go market myself out there more because right now a lot of my people that I have for my business are very local, you know, and that could only take you so far. Yeah, you got to reach new audiences.
Yep.
And so I told him, I was like, hey, Gabe, I was like, he stopped by he supported my business and picked up some candy. And I was like, hey, Gabe, like, I'm really interested. I think my business is ready. Like, can you actually help me get into this event? And he was like, yeah, for sure. You know, I got you. Like I'll talk. Her name is Erica, and I'll bring her up right now because I'm also super grateful for her. And so the second event that they did, I was actually a part of. And so that event is what
they ran the event.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, no. They were part of the event,
but they got you in.
Yeah. Gabriel helped me get in there. And so that event is the one event that I think to this day has helped my business immensely. It's what Shop Small Soiree is now. Gotcha. So Shop Small Soiree is a small business fair pop-up market that is ran by Erica, Casual Allure. She's amazing. I mean, she's done wonders for all of our small businesses. She knows what she's done for us. All my friends that have a small business know what they've done, that she's done for us. So through that Shop Small Soiree, I think just the connections, the people that have visited, I was able to get my product out there, you know.
Nice,
you have these big name influencers go, and as a small business, all you want to do is get them to try your product, you know.
And they promote you in a sense. Yeah,
but I've always been very, I think because of the way that I was raised, I've always been very, don't go giving people something because you expect something in return. Right. You know, give because you want to give.
Out of the goodness of your heart.
Yeah, you will receive. Don't give with expectations.
That's good.
So I've always wanted people to get to know my candy and who my business is organically.
Do you think, like, I feel like one of the things that probably sets you apart, and I'm just assuming, but I think this is probably accurate, is that people can sense that good heart of yours.
Generosity.
Yeah. Like you're genuine. You're not looking for anything behind. Like, why is she? And it's funny you bring that up because, like, Victor and I will have this conversation a lot because as we're starting our podcast and we're going through kind of what you just described, where we're starting our networking process, right. we get on the phone and we're like, hold on a second, before we take on something this from anybody, we need to know, like, what do they want in return? What's that expectation?
So
it's just funny you bring that up because you're one of those people, and in fact, we're dealing with someone that we think is just like you, and it's a little bit weird because we're kind of like, we're careful. We're like, does he want something? This guy's just so nice, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like that's you, where you're just freely giving because you love to, you believe in your product, you want to share.
No, I've never, I think that's definitely something that, and I never realized that I was doing it until, like, I had my grand opening where I was just like, oh my God, you know, like, this is insane. But it was never, I've grown my business. I think that a big impact of my business was my mom's passing. And I think that even before this, and I don't speak a lot about it because I don't feel like it's a big part. I don't think that it's big compared to, I don't think that it's defined me as much as losing my mom has. But before this, while I was dealing with everything with my mom, I was also in a really bad toxic relationship where it was like,
soccer player?
No, not the soccer player. No, not the soccer player.
No, soccer player. We're not toxic, bro.
No, soccer player was like my high school love, you know, like, and then we all moved on.
Yeah, he was a sweetheart.
Yeah, like it was like sweet, like it was like, okay, like we all grew, like let's all go separate ways. No, but
More of a boxer, huh?
yeah,
Hey,
actually,
Oh, the boxer's gonna beat me up now. I was like, what'd
Hey,
you say?
no, we know a couple boxers. You know,
Right,
very
right, right.
testosterone
Kidding.
driven.
Just
we'll,
kidding.
we'll throw them in the ring
Just
there. Okay, so you were.
Yeah, so I think that a big part of me building my business, now that I can step back and kind of look at it, was also me building myself. And so when I was building myself, it was so important for me to have something that I can share my story in, you know? And I think that me being able to share, you know, my hardships or talking to my people or going on live or, you know, everything that I've done on my stories, on everything, they're not just getting to know my product. They're getting to know my story, you know? And I think that matters. I think that it matters when people are supporting. There's a cost to what people are supporting, where it's like, like and I did this for my grand opening too, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna buy this, right? But when you're buying this, you're not just supporting me. Like, this is also my dad's story, where it's like, it's his recipe, and it's even beyond that. It's my childhood. I grew up in a swap meet. I grew up eating Mexican candy, you know?
There's an emotional attachment to it.
Yeah, and I didn't realize how much of me being vulnerable and me being transparent has impacted my business.
Kim, I got questions for you. I think this is a really big moment. I think you're touching on a lot of golden gems here. What do you say? Because I'm thinking about your first female guest. I'm thinking about all the girls out there, you know, that, you know, I'm sure they're gonna look at this, they're gonna tune in like, yo, this is fucking awesome. You know, she's
They're gonna follow Kim.
She's local, she's from LA, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, the story, I can relate to that. I'm Latino, my dad is. Okay, what about the business owner, male or female, or in between, whatever? What do you say to someone that says, you know, they don't believe in being vulnerable, they don't believe in sharing that personal story? You know, obviously you just said like it's done wonders for you. Would you say like, you know, that person can still find success? Would you recommend they do it? What you know? Like what are your thoughts? Obviously you believe in it.
Yeah, I think that if you're building a business, if you're comfortable with sharing, I would share. You know, because I think that. I know that it's a lot harder for males too, or maybe it's still looked something down upon.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that it's still even looked down upon, where it's like, if you sit here, like, let's say I was a male and I said everything that I just said, it would be like,
yeah, that's a weak man.
That's a weak man, you know? But
He's a beep. Don't buy from him.
But it makes you human,
Right.
you know?
Yeah,
and at
yeah,
the
yeah,
end of
yeah.
the day, we're all human.
We all have emotions, male or
We
female.
all have emotions. Building
We all have a
anything
story.
Big time.
takes a lot of courage.
Right.
It takes a lot of self-doubt. It takes a lot of believing in yourself and doing it anyway. So I'm sure like so many people could relate to it.
I was just gonna touch on that, where people respect that, where you're not just selling the whole goodness. Hey, my business is thriving.
Yeah.
This is that. You're also sharing the backstory. Yo, the things that I've struggled with. People respect that and they relate to that, and they're like, oh shit, this person is just like me. I'm going through that as well.
100%.
But look what they're still doing.
100%.
What made you do that again? Like, what made you one day go on live, or like, hey, I feel like sharing?
Because you were off the game for 3 years, you said, right? Off of,
Yeah,
social
I
media.
mean, a big part of me being off social media was like I was in this toxic relationship where I just like, you know, like
I also want to touch on,
yeah.
if you don't mind.
No, I don't. I'm an open book.
There's a lot of I guess you can probably argue more girls than guys stuck in toxic relationships. Whatever. Let's just say. I
would agree. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what?
You're like Victor's like, I wouldn't.
a little bit on that. And feel free to share as much as you want, and you don't have to get into detail. But okay, what would you say to that younger version of yourself that was in that toxic relationship? And what would you say to someone right now that's, you know, once we post this, is watching this, and you know, as they hear you say this, they're like, yo, this is me. Like, I feel like I'm in this toxic, like, what would you?
I would just say you were right. Like, you were right and you gotta go. Like,
you got to get out.
You stop being delulu, you know, like you got to go.
Straight
like
up.
So there was some delusion in there for you, like, hey, this is going to work, but
I think for me it was just it was very driven in the point where I think I had some childhood trauma within myself that I felt I deserved what I was getting.
So it's like a punishment kind of?
Yeah, where it was like, and I just wanted to be good, like I always wanted to be good with that person. So for me, it was like, no, Kim, like.
That's deep.
Yeah, man, you gotta.
You know where that came from? Have you ever?
Yeah, I've dug into it. I think it just has a lot to do with some things that were missing in my childhood. But my breaking point for me was when I was going through everything with my mom, and my mom passed away, and he didn't show up to anything. Wow. And I was just like, dude, like, what am I doing here?
Wasn't there to support?
Yeah,
at that
where
point,
it was
you
like,
need the support,
yeah, like.
When you needed him the most.
Right.
Yeah, nowhere to be found. It became a problem that I was mourning, and I was like, I'm out, like, this is not it. Like, this is not it for me. So if anyone's going through anything like that, and I were to go back and I would look at myself, I would be like, I'm so sorry, you were right, like.
What did that, I'm glad you definitely, escaped that. And I hope that guy's doing better too. I hope he's not, being toxic. What did it do for you? So you got out of that toxicity, and then you felt like doors just started opening for you. You felt healthier.
Yeah.
I just think that everything happened. I think that everything that happened in my life, including the heart of it, because I definitely feel like if I look at a timeline of my life, the hardest part was that toxic relationship and losing my mom, and it happened simultaneously
at once. Yeah.
So I think for me, when I was building Kimy Sweets, or my business, I just wasn't building my business. I was building myself. I was building confidence. I was building my confidence. I was building the woman that I am now, and I didn't know it, and it felt good because I've always been this way, It felt good for me because I was touching my childhood again. I was engaging with my family again. I was close to my dad, like it brought me to me, it made me feel whole again.
It's kind of like you lost yourself but found yourself at the same time.
Yeah, it was definitely it's been the biggest blessing in disguise.
That's awesome.
I'm just a little curious. Did you know you were in a toxic? Like, did you have that awareness? Because it's interesting hearing you.
Yeah.
It's interesting hearing you say this because I'm thinking about, and I'll tie it back to business, but I'm thinking about the girls or even the dudes that just lack the awareness where they think this is normal. But it's interesting to hear you say that you felt like once you were out of that, you were coming back to the things that you love to do, like being close to your dad, your family. So while you were in it, were you were just not aware, or?
I think that for the first year I wasn't, but I think that when I started getting detached from my family, and they would, my dad would speak to me, and he would be like, and I would catch myself acting certain ways, like not wanting to share certain things or not being willing to help because,
out of character, just
it just wasn't
Kim.
me anymore. Then I knew it, but I think that for me, mind you, like I was going through a lot of things emotionally with my mom. I think for me, I was just so distracted with all the emotions that I was feeling.
Probably didn't know where it was coming from.
I honestly, towards the end, I just didn't have time for anything anymore. It would be like, let me just run this business and go to sleep and wake up and do it again. Like I didn't really know. I didn't know better.
So maybe that's a sign, like, anybody that's feeling that way, like if you feel like you're getting, distracted or pushed away from the things you love, like especially the people you love, maybe that's a sign, like that's probably not a place you should be in or a situation you should be in.
Yeah.
And I just feel like the whole word toxico ended up getting like popular, where people would just be like, oh, eres tóxica, eres tóxico, but not really knowing what it truly means.
Yeah, no, it's.
So I feel like right now people have a misconception of that.
It's not a good thing to be toxicos, guys.
Yeah, it's kind of, you're right. It's kind of a trendy,
cool.
hot thing right now.
It's
like, oh, how toxic are you? Yeah, like the toxic, the better, the hotter.
No.
So people,
Bryce, how toxic are you?
He's white. He's 0.
White people can't be toxic?
Latinas are toxic. I'm kidding.
Bryce seems like a very, quiet man.
Bryce is anti-toxic. He's the remedy to toxicity.
But I feel like since it's a trendy thing, people don't really understand the concept of toxicity, or they think it's just the norm now.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, my man's toxic. He does this, he that. But it's
I
like,
just think also
that's
social media and it's so easy to
Yeah.
to have your reality altered on social media of what's healthy and what's not healthy, you know?
True.
It's so defining
And
now.
toxicity sells right
Yeah,
now. All these
toxicity does
fucking
sell.
shows that on
Yeah.
Netflix so toxic, but it's so there's so much drama, it draws so many eyes,
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I don't agree with, where people start like losing their authenticity for shit like that. It's
Yeah.
like you're selling out in a sense for
profit,
views
for
or
what? Yeah.
shit like that.
100%.
Okay, so you freed yourself, you took off. One of the things you just mentioned that made me look at Victor, because it's one of the things that we talk about, and we talked about.
Toxico, yeah, you looked at me. Like, no.
When you said toxic,
Yeah.
no, not at all. It's just you're loving the woman you're becoming.
Yeah.
Who is Kim becoming
I just
besides a millionaire
I
selling Mexican
hope.
candy?
Shoot.
Hey, God willing.
Yeah, we're gonna take this. This is already internationally, right? You
Yeah,
sell
it is. No, it is.
Yeah, okay.
It is international. I've gone to Japan, Greece. I've gone to Thailand. Yeah, we've gone everywhere internationally.
I want to. Yeah, I have. Okay, I want to hear more about that. But
Yeah.
who are you?
I feel like right now I'm at a phase where I am very comfortable with what I believe in and with who I am. I'm very kind. I'm very generous. I'm very hardworking. I'm very thoughtful.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very driven.
That's dope.
Yeah, I
Was that instilled? It sounds like, from a young age, working with your dad.
yeah.
Like you've had that naturally, or have you made like conscious decisions of like, I need to improve on this?
Yeah.
Probably a mixture of both.
I think it's been a mixture of both.
Yeah,
100%. But definitely we grew up with perfect childhood. I was never missing anything,
Mm-hmm.
where it was like my dad was always a hardworking dad. My mom was always a loving figure. But it was, I think it also comes.
By the sounds of it, Don Felipe also instilled that hard work in you, which is, you don't see that too often. When you grow up in a nice household, por eso nada más le dan todo.
Yeah.
But it sounds to me like your dad showed you,
That's a good
how to
point.
earn it.
That's a good point. Yeah.
No, heck no. We never. I was. When I was playing volleyball, if I wanted to get my uniform, a trabajarle, like every Sunday al Swami.
I used to work at a Swami too in Oxnard selling boots. You're bringing back memories to me. I used to make $80 a day. And
60 for me.
60?
Yeah.
Damn. And I was complaining. You see, I was being ungrateful. I was like, why what's $20 more? Give me 100.
Yeah.
But we would leave from Monterey Park at 4 a.m. We would get to Oxnard about 6 a.m. We would set
Why'd
up
you
the
guys go
tent.
to Oxnard? Just better.
For some reason, the swap meet was out there.
Better.
And the business that they had purchased or bought off from this other guy was there. So we would go to Oxnard. We would set up, and I was selling boots, like working boots. And I was that kid that would be like, pásale, tenemos
Todo barato.
barato.
Bonito,
Yeah.
Bonito, bueno, barato.
So, I remember, dude, I was like hustling, just selling these boots, acting like they were the best boots in the world.
Yeah, you got to sell it.
And but that right there, it made me appreciate a lot of things. Like, yo, like, you want money, you got to earn it. I was like freaking 13, 14 years old. Before that, I was selling avocados off of Alameda Street in downtown LA. That was my first actual job when my dad said, hey, I got you a job. I'm 13 years old. I'm selling avocados, picking up, freaking avocados here.
Damn.
Cases of avocados.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I used to make $50 right there.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money for a 13-year-old.
That shit was gone in one day.
What'd you do with it?
The friends. Hey, it's
Oh,
Friday night.
man, I wish I was your friend at 13, bro. Shit.
Let's just say I didn't play video games at 13. I was already out partying.
That's funny because there's some high school girls that go to my store. You could tell that there's one friend that always has the money, and they're always making her pay. And I just feel like telling her, stop, But they're kids.
Yeah, but my dad instilled that in me that, if you want something, you got to earn it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not easy. Like,
not.
So when I would ask, like, I wouldn't even ask my dad for money anymore because at that point I was like, I have my own money, but I know my dad works really hard to make his own money as well. But yeah, that was some crazy times right there. But it teaches you a lot.
I was going to say, shout out to your dad for doing it the right way. Because it sounds like you had it all. Some could argue that you're probably spoiled, and usually like spoiled kids.
But they don't know
Spoiled kids, usually they get everything handed to them, and then, they grow up with no work ethic, and they complain, and they're entitled. But he had a good mixture where you had it all. You never lacked anything, but he also made you earn
For him, it was like as long as our grades are good and as long as we're helping him, we're fine.
Okay,
You know?
so that was his thing. You gotta have the grades.
Yeah, we gotta have.
What
good
would happen
grades.
if you show up with a C? Like no candy for you, or
It would I mean, it would be kind of like
no candy for you, stupid.
it would be more like an ass beating, you know.
Oh, shit.
Don Felipe?
No,
I was about to
kidding.
say what?
But I mean, we grew up old school. It's
Yeah,
true, like
traditional.
dude, like
What? So
I got
what,
jumped once in 6th grade because I
What?
had a dance battle.
What?
And I beat the girl, and then walking out, I got jumped, and I got suspended. So I got jumped, and then I got suspended, and my dad wanted to go pick me up, and he still slapped me for getting suspended, and I was just like, I was defending myself, you know? Yeah, so not the perfect dad, a badass dad, but
She
not
got
the
a
perfect
background.
one. Yeah.
Don't fight with Kim in the
That's funny.
streets.
I got suspended in 7th grade. I got in a fight. And this when I lived in Bakersfield, so my dad had to come from LA all the way to Bakersfield.
I know your dad was pissed,
Bro,
dog.
so I remember I was like, shit, my dad's gonna whoop
He
my
whooped that
ass.
ass, yeah.
I get in the car, I start crying already. I'm
Right.
thinking,
You
I'm
just
sorry,
know.
Dad.
and my dad goes, why are you crying? I'm like, oh, it's 'cause
I know you're gonna whoop my ass.
he's like, nah, I'm very disappointed about what happened. So he wanted to understand what happened.
He gave you an opportunity to
Gave me-
explain yourself.
and I'm like, well, look, Dad, I was building this. It was wood shop class. I was building a house. This fat kid named Robert came and he just broke it. I still remember.
right,
He was a big kid. So my first reaction,
did he do it on purpose,
Yeah,
or
he
was
did
he
it
just
on
so
purpose.
fat
No,
that
no,
like
he
his
did it on
fat hit
purpose.
your thing?
like he came and
Oh
just
no, I'm asking questions.
broke the house I was building.
He was so fat.
and
His fat hit the house.
So my first reaction was to punch the kid. You know, I got
You hit
angry.
Robert?
Damn,
I hit
angry
Robert.
Did it even hurt him?
Probably not.
Damn, Robert. I
Yo,
hope
I'm
you healed from
I'm
that.
so glad.
Robert probably a
I'm
professional
glad the
security
teacher
guard.
came in and stepped in because he probably would have whipped my ass. You know, but I
Robert.
got the first hit.
Robert about to beat your
So,
ass.
but nah, man, my dad had a good conversation with me there, and he made me understand certain things. Where like, hey, look, like I'm up early at 12 in the morning. I had to drive all the way out here. I haven't slept because look what you did, type of shit. Where and I was like, damn, I can't be putting my dad in positions like this. I got.
So that worked for you? Like
Yeah.
it made you now in the future be like, all right, I want my dad.
It
so I
made me
should
understand the
reconsider my
sacrifices
behavior?
that he was making. And
How old were you
I
there?
was 7th grade. I was 13 years old.
Damn, that's so mature.
Yeah.
Yeah, damn. I'm looking at like, don't ask me what I did.
13, 14, I would say. But it gave me understanding, and I'm just like, damn, I can't be
You were like
putting.
12 because you were 7th grade.
I don't fucking remember.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was 7th grade. That's all I remember.
No, that's amazing.
You're the oldest.
No, so I'm the youngest actually. So
Oh,
you've met Rocio before. She's 1 year older than me, and then there's Elizabeth. She's 33, and then we have the baby Melanie. Which
Yeah,
you
which
met
you
as
took her to
well.
my store. Yeah. Damn.
She loved the candy, by the way.
Yeah,
trying to say
kids would
So
go
you're
crazy with
you're
this.
the second to the youngest.
I was the youngest before the youngest.
Yeah,
came.
yeah.
Yeah, second to the youngest. All females.
So you're the
Yeah.
only guy.
You guys are all females.
All females. Yeah, no
Yeah.
brothers.
Mm.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of pressure on me, even though I was the youngest. My dad would be like, "You're the man of the house, and when I'm not here, you got to hold it down," type of shit. And then obviously my mother as well. So I felt a lot of pressure in that sense, where I was there representing my dad and making sure my sisters were good. To this day as well.
Yeah.
My parents are divorced now, so being the male, I got to look out for my sisters and stuff like that. And I know my sisters have never said it, but I know my actions inspire them in a sense where even I'm the youngest, but everything that I do, they're inspired by it, where they're like, just like even hitting the gym, me going to the gym and all that. Next, Liz is going to the gym, things like that.
Little bro's doing it.
So I feel like I still feel that pressure in a sense where
You're an influencer.
they're looking at me. What is little bro doing? And when I do something, they get inspired by it too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Kim, you mentioned a whole bunch of countries, Thailand, Japan. Before we get there, you now have your own store. I mean, you talked about Etsy, your website. When did you open your own store? In Pico, right?
Yeah. So there came a point back to what he was saying when I was just doing local pickup for my house.
Don't get lost.
That it just got too hectic, and then my sisters were just like, "Dude, we have people coming to the house at this
People
time.
we don't know.
Yeah,
Random
we have
people.
people we don't know. Like, you're
not safe.
growing. Like, my little sister's an influencer. Like we're all growing. Like, you never know what's out there.
Yeah.
Right.
And then there also came a point where, mind you, like me and my dad are so alike. So as well as we get along, when we clash, we also
clash
clash.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there came a point where I was so busy with one of my Black Friday sales that I did, and I was still working at home. But it came to a point where like I was making the candy in the back house, and then I was shipping all the orders from the garage. So my dad has a big majority of his business storage in the garage. So it would be like we don't have space for both of us anymore. And we would get into a lot of conflict because of that. So early January of 2021, no, 2023 this year, 2022.
Last year.
Yeah, 2022.
Okay.
Last year. Yeah. I was like, I can't do this anymore with you. Like, I'm so tired of fighting with you. I need to work. I can't work comfortably because you're upset that I'm using this table, you know? And so I literally went on Facebook Marketplace and I found I found like a room kind of similar to what this is in the back. And I went to go see it. I messaged the lady in the night. I was like, hey, like, you know, like I was like emotional. I was like, I need a place to go.
My dad and I are fighting.
Yeah. Take me in, you know? And so the next morning I went to go see it and she was like, yeah, like I'm renting it here. It's this much cash and it comes with this and this and this. I was like, I'll take it. And I was like, I'll take it. And it was like this little space in the city of Linwood. And that became like the Kimy Sweets
Operation
HQ.
there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like my first
storage.
ever little warehouse, you know?
Nice.
And so I worked there for like a year, really. And then I started seeing that the local pickup option was actually really popular. Like, mind you, like we had done events like the Bucanas event. I had done networking with a lot of influencers through the soiree. So it was like my business was already growing.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was like, dude, like I can't be in the middle of making the candy. And then we had a whole system where it was like, hey, I'm going to be in the office from this time to this time. If you're going to come, text me before you come to make sure I'm there. And then like, oh, like you have to park here. Like it just became very inconvenient, you know?
It's a one-man show.
Linwood. Yeah, well, no, at this point I had already hired.
But you're sending out and you also got people coming as well.
Yeah.
And you're making
And then
candy.
I had my
It's a lot of
online
things going on.
platform. Yeah. And my pop-ups. So I know I got help. I got help immediately. When I saw that it was like too much for me. And so I saw that the demand was big and I started looking for my store not a store. I never wanted a store. I just needed something where it could be like a small showroom. Like it could have even just been like a backdrop wall, kind of like this, and then like a shelf that says local pickup. I just wanted somewhere where people could come in. Yeah. And I wouldn't have to be going out all the time. And so I was looking to September and I couldn't find a perfect place. And I found a perfect place, but then I didn't get it because somebody else did. And then fast forward to January of this year, I had one of my friends, she had a keto business. And her store was going out of business. And I was like, dude, like your location seems so good. You know,
what's a
like,
keto business?
It was just a business where she would sell nothing but keto snacks, keto treats.
Okay.
I guess it just didn't work out because keto became so accessible everywhere. And
a lot of competition.
Yeah. And I think that she's also doing a lot. She's doing a lot now with like catering. So I think que le está yendo mejor, honestly.
Good for her.
Yeah, good for her. And so I was like, hey, like I've been in the market for a bigger location for a while. You're like, I was just wondering, like, how much are you paying for yours? How's management there? Like, how do you like it? And so before that place even went on the market, she pretty much was like, she presented the owners. She presented me to the owners, and it was like, well, they had a potential renter. Yeah. And they weren't even gonna miss out on a month of rent.
Yeah, it just made sense.
They just transferred it over to me.
Nice.
And it was. I just saw that there was already a nice showroom there, and like I got really excited about it. I was like, how cool would it be to make this place like really Kimy Sweets? You know, like the purple, the teal, the drops, add my chilito there,
put your whole flavor in there.
Put my business in there. And that's how
you got the location.
That's how I got the location in Pico, yeah.
When was that again?
I signed the lease February of this year.
Of this year?
Yeah, of this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So not even a year yet. It's almost a year in February.
So we signed it February, and then I got my good friend Judy, because Like, I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not good at. I suck at like DIY stuff. Like, I just, dude, I suck at that. Like,
I gotta
anything that comes like mounting stuff, like, oh, not for me, you know?
I gotta ask you. So, something that stood out to me earlier is when you said you hired people, and even just now, you know what you're good at, you know what you're not good at.
Strengths and your weaknesses.
Can you talk a little bit about like being a business owner, like
knowing your strengths and your weaknesses?
Yeah, like hiring people. Was that easy for you? Because some people struggle because they think, oh, I gotta hire someone, I gotta pay them, I'm gonna make less money.
Yeah.
How did you?
No, I think for me, it just it got to a point. Well, with my first problem ever that I think I had was like, I can't show anyone how to do this. They're gonna do it too. That was my biggest thing. Yeah, like,
you had a fear.
I can't give people my recipe. Like, what if they just come up with their own candy
and
store? So, and then I had another conversation with my friend Gabriel where he was like, Kim, like, you need a manufacturer, or you need, because I was making all the candy myself. And then the first problem too was like, how can I hire someone to come work in my house? Like, that's weird, you know? Like,
touchy, that's risky.
Yeah, like it's my
person could eat your candy, all of your candy.
They could take my dog, you know, like, I don't know. So it was hard, but thankfully, one of the girls that also helps my dad at the swap meet, her name's Lucy. She was my first ever helper, and so there was already like that confianza, that trust there. So it was like she kind of helped me, but it all started with just like packaging.
Did you make them sign any? Like,
no, never.
Just curious.
And then she got pregnant, and then the second girl, she still helps me. I'm honestly very blessed to have my team. Very, very blessed. She's been with me for almost 2 years now. I think maybe we're going on the third. But she's also a family. So my family also has a stand at the Paramount swap meets. And so she's their helper. And so we're all like kind of all intertwined. Yeah. And she's amazing. She's great. Just a very good person, a very honest person. But that conversation that I had with my friend Gabriel was, Kim, like, you can teach people how to do the stuff.
Right.
But are they going to know how to call the place? Like, are they going to know how to, it's really all in marketing, you know? And that's where it all is like full circle moment. It comes to like, people are not supporting your candy. They are, but they're supporting your story, you know? And it goes to show when we had our grand opening, like, there's so many people who just show up because they wanted to support me. And for me, that was like such a humbling.
And they may not even like candy, but they'll buy it because
no, they love my candy. They love my candy.
Just keeping it real.
Yeah. No, but it's a very like full circle moment, and I think at that point I kind of had a moment of realization where I was like, okay, you're becoming who you said you were gonna be, you know?
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. And it was like people are showing up because of who you are, and who you are on social media and who you are in person is the same person. Yeah.
You're not
I don't know.
Another.
I just want everyone to kind of know, like, especially the girls out there, you know, like, I want them to feel so like when they hear my story, or when they hear what I've done, or when they come into the store, you know, I just want them to feel somehow inspired, even if you don't want to do a business, or even if whatever you want to do with your life, you know, like, if you work for it, like, chingona, you got this, you know, like, I just want that's all I really want, you know, like, it's never been about, I don't think it's ever been about the profit for me.
It's funny, you haven't talked about money once.
Right. Yeah, because you know what,
we've been doing this for almost an hour and a half, and I think it's very, I think it's very revealing, though.
It's so natural to
me. You just believe you're actually like, you're for real, like, you're not. You didn't come here today. You're not putting on a facade. We're like,
no,
I'm gonna pretend.
And you know, it's funny. I was so nervous, and I was talking to my boyfriend on the way here, and I was like, babe, like, I've never done something like this.
Is this your first like podcast?
It's my first podcast ever.
Yeah. We're gonna promote the shit
podcast, baby.
Yeah.
And you guys got like 2 hours. He's gonna be like, shoot, damn, I got so much editing.
Bryce got a lot of work.
I was gonna say Marvin. Bryce is over here taking notes.
Yeah, he's about to open up his candy shop.
Yeah.
He's about to go make his own.
I was like, babe, like. Because I feel sometimes even like because of my toxic relationship, I had some social anxiety that I had to, believe it or not, like, I had to overcome. So, like, when I would like talk to people, like, making eye contact with you, I wouldn't be able to. Like, it would be like, and then I would look down, and then I would have to look back up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For women out there, or females, I should say, that maybe are going through that, where they're kind of like they don't feel they're good enough. What were some things that helped you gain your confidence back? What were some things, maybe self conversations that you had with yourself, or affirmations?
Yeah, I did a lot of journaling. I did a lot, but I know that journaling is not for everybody. Yeah. I would, and I think that this is something that I'm going through right now. Like, even this morning, I've been feeling it a lot this week, just being raw and honest. I think that it's so important to control your mind and to be able to sit in your own thoughts and to be able to understand your emotions and allow yourself to feel them. So I think that me journaling a lot and I read a lot of like self-help books too, but I'm not talking about like self-help like Rupi Kapoor. No, not that they're bad. Like, I love her poems, but I'm talking about like Think and Grow Rich. I'm thinking like how to win friends and influence people. Like those books, where I'm just like, you have to believe that at the end of this, whatever you're going through, there is a rainbow and it's beautiful and you're gonna get there and you're gonna look back. And it's going to be, especially if you're a girl, it's going to be something where once you reach it, you're so and you're no longer sad or angry about it. You're just so thankful that you went through it because it made you realize and learn so much about who you are. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's powerful. That's powerful. Yeah. Very inspiring. And it's funny because I've tried journaling as well. Like, I do it on the computer, and there is power to what I've learned. I don't know how you feel about it, but the voice in your head, it's all like it's all
in your
audio.
head.
It's all in your head. It's all audio. But when you write it down, it's different.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel this way, but I've done it before. I've gotten to. So my thinking is this, like, and this might be. Let me know what you think about this. Since you journal every day.
Not anymore. But I used to.
Okay, so you don't do it anymore.
Not anymore.
Okay, I'm kind of curious to know why you stopped and how you maintain that, because one of the things I would tell myself is that, in a way, journaling was a little bit of a weakness, not like on an emotional, manly thing, but what happens when I'm not able to journal? What happens when I'm not able to get on a computer and write it out? Because one of the things I learned is that me writing these thoughts out and seeing them, reading them slowly, made me understand more about myself.
Yeah.
But my goal was to develop that without a journal, to where I can just function and go at any time and have that control. Did you ever think that way, or not really?
Kind of like you become dependent in it?
Yes. And my worry was, what happens when I don't have a journal? What happens when I don't know. I don't know if you ever crossed that, or because I'm always trying to be like, one thing for me, I'm really hard on myself in a good way, where I'm not. I used to be hard on myself in a bad way, where I'd put myself down, make myself feel guilty. I get all weird in my head. I get quiet. And, that was negative, right? Mm-hmm. But now it's like, I want to be sharp all the time. Mm-hmm. I can't have a fucking journal all the time. Excuse my language, but I can't.
It's fine.
But you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, a journal is like, man, I can't fucking, I got my notes, but what if my phone dies? So I'm always like thinking like the best way to do it. And, when you said like taking control of your thoughts, not to get preachy, but it takes me to the Bible, where God is literally like, you got to take all your thoughts captive.
Yeah.
And understand that some thoughts are yours, some are not. Mm-hmm. And you got to differentiate. Like, okay, that's not me. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is God talking, and this is me. And then aligning that, and once you realize that, man, sky's the limit. Like,
100%.
Yeah. Well, the Bible says, as a man and woman thinks,
so he is.
So he is. So
that's right.
Those are some of my battles where, there's things where I start putting myself down, where I'm just like, okay, where's this coming? Is this coming from God, or is this coming from a place of bad, right? So I start clearing up my thoughts and start pushing myself up in the sense of just little affirmations like, hey, bro, you got this. Everything's going to be good. You're a stud. Things like that in that nature, because there's times where I feel the opposite. Like, oh, bro, like, you're not a stud. But I got to quiet that noise down. It's like, no, let's start thinking more positively.
Yeah.
So how do you do it now? You don't journal. What's your secret power now? I don't.
So I was telling you guys earlier, I feel like right now my mind's kind of scattered again.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
But I don't
But not
think
like before, obviously. It's a little...
it's scattered more in the sense where it's like there's so much going on at the same time that I can't focus on one task. Or if I do something for myself, where I'm like, if I don't wake up to work out at 6 in the morning and I'm working out at 9 in the morning instead, then I feel guilty.
You and I both.
Yeah, you know, for like if I don't
feel
get my
behind already.
Yeah, or I feel like if it's like 9 a.m. and I finish my workout 10:30, 11, then I'm just like, dude, my team's at the store, like, and I'm not there, and I still have to go to downtown, and I still have to do this, and I still have to edit. So like my mind is all scattered. Where in the sense where it's like I can't quiet it down, so I can focus on what I'm doing. When I'm supposed to be doing it, you know? So I think right now I'm digging into myself again, and I realize that I need to meditate again, you know?
I was just going to say.
Yeah.
From one business owner to another.
It's so important to meditate.
It's your number one.
Yeah.
You're number one. Like Kim D Sweets is doing great. That's awesome. I salute you. Congratulations. But you're Kim D Sweets.
Yeah.
So if you're not on, if you're not 100%, nothing else will be. So
True.
Take that time. Even if it means, probably not going to the store for a day or two.
No, I gotta go to the store. I cannot go to the store.
Well,
you have to
you're
store
asking
and
for too much.
But
no, but I try to do a good job, And it's funny because me and my boyfriend, he just
She
opened.
said not the store.
Don't mess
anything
with the
but the store, bro.
Meditate in the store.
My boyfriend just opened up his own restaurant, right? And he's been a
Vaca?
chef, Vaca Brunch and Beyond.
I gotta go. Where is
you
it?
guys need to go to
I've been
Vaca
there.
Brunch.
Where is it?
It's in Baldwin Park.
Yeah.
Baldwin
Yeah.
Park.
Very
Yeah.
good. Promote
So
that too.
he just opened up his restaurant, and he's been a chef for a little bit over, I think, like 13 years. But this is his first project where like he's owner, he's
That's
invested.
dope.
So he's
Nice.
owner
Got skin in
and
the game.
executive chef,
Congrats, brother.
Yeah. Congrats, baby.
We have the
Hopefully we
same
get
last
some
name. He's
free
Rodriguez
meals.
también, right?
Huh?
He's Rodriguez también.
Yeah,
his
he's
last
Rodriguez.
Name?
Yeah.
He's my cousin.
January. What's his
I'm
name?
claiming him.
Jose Armando.
Jose.
Jose Armando Rodriguez.
Oh, she said it was. She wrote her art. Jose Rodriguez, brother. Congratulations. January, we'll have you in here.
Yeah,
Yeah?
let's do
Yeah,
it.
let's talk
You'll
about
You
bring
would love
some
that.
some
Yeah.
vacas in here.
Yeah, so it's funny because he's going through, and I see him all the time, and I'm so inspired by him, and I have so much respect because owning a restaurant, if
not
I think
easy,
owning a
that's
store is, if this is busy, like owning a restaurant, it's
a different animal?
It's a different animal, yeah.
You're there every day, from
Yeah.
morning to close.
And so I think it's really funny because I see how hard he's working and how important it is, and I respect it. But I also think that for me, I'm at a point right now where, like, mind you, like, again, like, I think the biggest defining thing for me is I lost my mom. Like, I know the value of time and of how to disperse it. And I think what's valuable for me is not just work. So like I try to do a
Dedicated
good
time.
job. Yeah, I try to do the best that I can to take some time for me,
Yeah.
And it's important for me, and I don't care what happens. Like I need that time because I don't know if my dad's going to be here tomorrow. Like I don't know what's going to happen. And so I'm very proactive about, taking some time for myself.
I see that you guys go out, like take your family vacation.
I think I try to, we balance each other off. Where it's like I remind him a lot, especially during this process where it was like, babe, like you need to stop and smell your flowers. Like it was just his birthday not so long ago, and for his dinner, and I had a moment with him where I was like, stop, like just sit in this moment and look at this. Like your closest friends are here. You haven't had a day off. Like look at everything you're accomplishing with Vaca. Like stop and smell your flowers. And he was just like, yeah, you're right. So I'm an advocate for that, where it's like,
no, he's definitely lucky to have you.
It can't be work, it can't just be work.
Right, because you guys are working for something as well. Like I'm sure you guys want a family at some point, kids. Like it's gotta.
I mean, we talk about it.
It's in the works.
You're 29.
I'm turning 30 this month, actually.
Oh,
in
this
a couple
month?
of weeks.
Happy
yeah.
early birthday.
Thank you.
How old is Jose?
33.
33.
He's 33.
So you guys are getting there.
Yeah.
Hey,
Ahí la llevamos.
2024.
Shit, if he doesn't marry me,
No pressure, Jose.
Make time to go buy a ring. Okay, Vacas can't be everything.
he knows I love him, and he knows that I'm supporting him. He knows that.
No, that's awesome.
How does Vaca come into place? Like the name there. What does it
I don't know.
represent?
You're gonna have to ask him
Okay.
that.
Yeah, we'll save that
yeah,
for the
we'll
podcast.
save that for him.
I was
I know he
curious.
has
I've been
business-
curious on that.
He has business partners, and I know he has 2 business partners, and I know that one of them is very big on like the Mexican hospitality. So there's a place called Leche in Puerto Vallarta,
Okay.
and I think a lot of places in Mexico just have like captivating names like that. So I think that's kind of where it came from.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll ask him.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go eat over there and ask him again.
I want to go next time you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
What's
I
your- what do you
definitely
like to
went.
get
I
from-
caught him on a busy day. It was Tuesday. It was my birthday was on a Tuesday, so I'm thinking it's gonna be slow. I get there.
It's packed.
I had to wait 30 minutes to get in. I'm like, oh shit, this place is popping.
What do you
So mind
recommend?
you, like-
I got the chilaquiles. It was really good.
Chilaquiles?
Yeah.
You two, that's the
Yeah.
number one?
Yeah, there's a lot of things on the menu though that look very very good.
Yeah.
But I took the time. Lo saludé, congratulate him, and I could just tell. He was very busy. He's like,
That's
hey, bro,
his-
thank you. I don't know who the fuck you are.
You could tell though, like that's his passion,
Yeah.
Like you see him moving and you see how he works, and he's just so happy doing
He's
it.
creating his art there.
Yeah.
How do you all right, so I can totally see some girls asking this too. How do you handle a business? Kim D Sweet. Yeah, you already know
I
about
know where
that.
it's going.
How do you handle all this stuff, girl, and handle a man as well that, as I heard you talk, like what's your belief? And I got a couple questions. I'll try to keep it in order, but like what's your belief on like him also being a business owner? That's got to be fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And he's got more than one restaurant?
No,
Two?
Chicho, this is
Okay,
his
this is his first one.
Yeah.
You have your business. So as a woman, from a woman's perspective, we'll get
I
his
know, it's
perspective down the
hard.
road. Yeah, but how do you handle that? How do you handle a man that's also an entrepreneur? He has his own ambition. You have your own. You guys, I'm assuming, clashed as well. I mean, that's normal, but how do you?
I think
How do you guys stay balanced? I guess is the question there.
it's a lot, especially from a girl. I think it's just a lot of like understanding. It's a lot of understanding that he's doing it for a bigger reason, and you have to believe in that. You have to believe that everything he's doing, it's because he has some goals, and those goals you have to support because you love him,
Right.
and you want to see him win. But it's not easy. It's not easy, especially because we started our relationship where he was working as an executive chef, and he could make his own schedule. It was, if he was in there, like he had his team take over,
Right.
But now he's owner, so it's not like
He's there.
he has to be there.
He's the head honcho now.
Yeah, and it's a sense where it's like, well, I got so accustomed to like us seeing each other every day, or like us doing fun things every weekend, or like we partied a lot and we did like festivals, we traveled a lot, like we did a lot. And so I think that it was a lot of like me having to adjust, because we were already both really busy, but it would be in the sense where it would be like, if he wanted to kind of slack off, there was that room for
He
him
could.
to. Yeah.
Now it's
And now it can't, And so I think that also just like me being his partner, I want to see him win. And so
That's
I try to involve myself
Yeah.
with his goals too, where it's like, how can I help you? Because he's been so helpful to me in my business, where it's like,
That's very selfless. Of
very
you.
considerate of you.
well, it's because
Considered
he's very
selfless.
selfless himself.
did that with
too.
you as well,
yeah,
right?
like when I was opening up my store, there was never a shift after his shift that he wouldn't come help. Or like even nowadays where we had like a certain, we recently had a surge with our TikTok shop where like we were shipping out like 1,000 orders a day.
Dang.
And I was just like, yeah, no. It was a lot. And for
Kim D
me, it
Sweets
was
is
just
popping.
Kim D Sweet, huh?
no,
Thailand,
but
Japan.
it was
I might have to
a
invest
point.
in this
You guys going? Have you sent
Hey,
out?
we're taking business partners.
Have you? Oh, are you guys?
No, I'm just kidding. Maybe. I don't know
Market,
yet. I don't
yeah.
know what's happening with Kimy Sweets right now. we're learning as we go,
Yeah,
guys.
hey,
Maybe you
tell
can
us about
franchise
that.
it.
Yeah.
You never know. Have you? You guys have any customers in Honduras? Just random. Any?
I don't. I mean,
Yo,
I
we
don't.
got people in Honduras. We'll start.
I'm gonna reach out to my cousins and make sure they get
hey, you
some
gotta
candy
get
from
some
y'all.
Kimy
Dulces.
Sweets.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but there's been points where like we were shipping out that like orders, and he had his long days at Vaca,
Yeah.
and he came to help me. Like so,
yeah.
it's a lot of like you show up for each other, and I think that I'm a very firm believer where it's like the relationship is not gonna be 50-50 all the time. Realistically, it's not. Like I saw this reel the other day where it was like a relationship is gonna be like sometimes I'm gonna be 20 and he's gonna be 80. So it's like if he's at 80, he's gonna have to put in my 20.
Right,
like
right.
that. We have to balance each other out. And so
You guys are playing team, you know, and I think that's the
Yeah,
beautiful thing about
yeah.
it.
That's an interesting point because a lot of people would say team is 50-50, but you guys have a different perspective where if you know your boy's at 80 and you got to put in that extra work, like that's cool. I think that's probably better.
Well, I just think that I also grew up very like, I feel like I'm one of the few girls that don't believe necessarily so much in, not that it's bad, feminism, but I do believe that like biologically, like I need my man to cater to me, and my man's gonna need me to cater to him. So we're gonna have to balance each other out, you know. Like it just works that way. Like if you look historically, like the society that worked back then, it was because mom and dad stayed together and they raised the kids.
That's a whole nother podcast.
But that's a whole different podcast.
I'd love
but
to talk
I also have like my like beliefs where it's like, dude, if you're unhappy, leave. You know, like it's I'm very like mixed, but I think that I'm very
little bit
like
old school and modern.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
No, you're
No,
good.
you're good. You're good. And
Right
it's not that we're not trying. I want to talk about it, but definitely for
That's
another
a different podcast,
Yeah, for sure.
We're gonna have Jose here too.
So I think, but like also tying back, like he's been the best boyfriend that like I think that like after
I feel like you guys were meant for each other, to be honest with you. Just seeing his work ethic, seeing like his.
I inspired him.
You're his hero, his mentor.
I'm his hero.
I've had a little conversation with him. He seems like a great guy, down to earth as well.
He's very, very
humbled.
It's funny. We were just having this
Who's
conversation.
better though?
What?
Ask him.
I mean, she got vodka to 8,000 right now. Yo.
Yeah, we're gonna need your help with MarVic. I don't know, just
Real.
No, I think that we were having this conversation the other day, and I told him, I was like, what do you want to be defined by? And he was like, I just want people to remember their childhood every time they take a bite of my food.
Damn.
And I thought that said so much about him, you know? I think that he's very much like me. Like, and I think that
you guys had a similar answer,
yeah. I think he's very much like me, and I think that he's going to have a lot of success because he thinks that way too.
No
you got to believe in your story, man.
You do.
You got to believe in yourself. Like
Absolutely.
I wish the best for you guys too. Like
Thank
everything
you.
guys are doing with your like this passion project, I'm sure it's for you guys.
Yeah.
Like it's not easy, man. It's hard.
Yeah.
I know that it's hard.
We make the joke every time. We have no idea what we're doing, but here we are.
You know, it's funny. You guys called me that on that phone combo the other day. And you guys like, you got to tell me what you're doing. And I was in my head, I was like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing every day.
We had a moment, where we don't know either.
We were on a phone call the other day, and like some guy was like, you know, I trust that you guys know what you're doing, and we kind of just had like, shit, we have no clue,
I had to step away. We'll share that different time, but it was funny. People,
you know, one of the biggest things that I've learned is you just gotta take action no matter what.
Yeah.
You're gonna learn as you go, and you know you're gonna learn what not to do and what to do as you go. But that's the beautiful thing about it, you know, is just taking that action, and that's where you discover a lot about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you do it, if you're scared, do it anyway.
Yeah,
that's right. That's
definitely,
right.
definitely.
Kim, last thoughts. Male, female.
I feel like we talked about everything today.
We touched a lot of things.
We touched a lot.
I feel like we talked about everything but Kimy sweets.
Well, kind of. Yeah, we didn't really dive into like flavors.
No, it's okay.
I mean, I've been eating
it's okay.
But look, it's leaving room for next time.
Yeah,
you know, we're gonna get your boy here, and then you'll come back. Hopefully, we can get you back. You might be even bigger. I don't know.
Yeah. So let's end this with this here. Where does Kimy Sweets go in 2024?
And
most importantly,
what's your goal?
What's
you know,
your goal?
it's funny. I get asked that question so much, but believe it or not, like everything that's happened for my business has not been planned. Like me opening up a store, it was never supposed to be a store.
Yeah.
Like me, I know that, and then something else that I do want to touch upon. I know that I said like, oh, we were shipping out 1,000 orders, but that's just a high, you know, like. Like right now, there's highs and lows in this business.
Right, it fluctuates.
And you have to know how to ride it. So I don't know what's next. I don't know what I'm going to do. I kind of feel like I want to open up my own manufacturing plant next.
Ooh.
Where I can maybe cut down my production time.
Cost.
I refuse to get a co-packer though. Like I really do, because I highly am a firm believer that if I get a company to make my candy, the quality is not gonna be
drop.
the same.
Yeah.
And for
And then
me,
Kimy Sweets
I mean,
is
you
the same.
tried my candy for over 3 years. Like, be honest. Like, has it always been consistent?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, and that's
Since
the
day
number
one.
one
That's
thing.
important.
Like,
That's
Since the
important.
peach
yeah,
rings.
it's consistent. Like, it just always tastes the same. It's always fresh. And for me, that's so important. For my business, that's so important. So I don't want to get a co-packer. So I think I'm just gonna become a co-packer. I think
That's a good solution.
The route that I think that's the route that I'm taking. But we'll see, man. I think that God's timing. I'm a firm believer in that. And whatever it is, I'm ready for. You know, like
Yeah.
I'll just,
Amen to that.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Last question, Kim. How do you want to be defined?
I want to be defined.
My boy got 10 last questions.
He got 10 last questions. How do I want to be defined? I asked someone that
Sweet.
was just kind and as sweet as her candy.
Aw, there it is. There it is. That's awesome.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Kim, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you for
Appreciate your
Gracias.
produce.
Dropping the
It's
gems.
truly delicious. I'm not just saying that because she's here.
He got paid to say it.
I'm
Oh,
you know,
truly,
it's
truly
just
good.
candy. Obviously, I can't have too much because I'm gonna go crazy. But Victor hasn't stopped, so that's a sign. You know, this
It's
kid's
highly
addicted.
addictive.
Highly addicting. But no, seriously, thank you. We appreciate your time.
Gracias.
We'll see you Tuesday.
Yeah.
We'll be there. You
At
know,
the
do a little bit
storefront.
behind the
Los
scenes. Stay
esperamos.
tuned.
Yeah.
And Victor, thank you, brother, for the connection.
You're welcome.
He's
Gracias.
busy
I'm just
munching.
enjoying the.
Bye, guys.
Stay tuned. We'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.